The wealthiest Duke of Norfolk owned numerous estates. He was not old and had served King Edward IV of England faithfully, earning the title of Knight of the Order of the Garter. However, when this powerful lord suddenly passed away, the king's attitude toward his family changed drastically. He sought to claim Norfolk's riches for himself. The ruler of England was generally regarded as a greedy man. He often preferred to increase the wealth of the crown and his closest relatives at the expense of others. A notable case in this regard was that of Anne Beauchamp, who, during her lifetime, was considered deceased due to her wealth. The Duchess of Norfolk found herself in a difficult position because her husband had failed to leave a will. Under English law, she was entitled only to a widow's share, a portion of her husband's holdings. But Elizabeth Mowbray, the Duchess of Norfolk, wanted more. She had a chance of success for one intriguing reason. Her sister had once secretly been betrothed to the king. Edward IV had kept this fact hidden and was long since married to another woman, but Elizabeth remembered the past well. If the Duchess chose to reveal the story of the bride, according to some historians, that girl became the king's wife. It would severely damage the ruling York family. After all, it could call Edward's new marriage into question. With this trump card in hand, Elizabeth Mowbray set off for London. She was determined to claim full ownership of all her late husband's lands, defying the greedy king's plans. But Edward outsmarted Lady Elizabeth. Instead, he proposed a marriage between the Duke's daughter and his own son, Richard of Shrewsbury. After the wedding, the children would inherit a heap of titles: Duke and Duchess of York, Norfolk, Earl and Countess of Surrey and Warenne. Moreover, the connection to the king was a significant favor. Additionally, Richard was the king's second son, and in the event of any issues with his older brother, he could easily become the primary heir to the throne. This meant Elizabeth's daughter would have the chance to wear the English crown. Elizabeth needed no persuasion. She returned home on wings of joy. Her little daughter Anna would become a princess. Meanwhile, the Duchess would live comfortably in Norfolk, enjoying the income from the lands. What a lucrative deal! The ceremony was scheduled for January of 1478 at Westminster Palace. The 4-year-old prince and the 5-year-old duchess were wed by the Archbishop of Canterbury. In the 19th century, the artist James Norcott even painted a picture of this remarkable celebration. The titles of the young princess passed to her husband. The children were raised together, and Lady Elizabeth frequently appeared at court. This royal mother-in-law was hard to miss. She dazzled everyone with the abundance of jewels she wore. However, 3 years later, Anna of Norfolk fell seriously ill and could not be cured. The Duke's estate was once again left vacant. Several individuals laid claim to the lands: the princess's mother, Lady Elizabeth, Viscount William Berkeley, and John Howard, relatives of the Duke of Norfolk. But none of them truly understood the nature of King Edward IV. He had no intention of sharing with anyone, and to prevent any disputes, Parliament passed a special act. Everything would remain with Richard of Shrewsbury, the king's son. Technically, this decision violated other laws of the kingdom, but no one dared to contest it. According to a law from the 12th century, Elizabeth Mowbray had to settle for a widow's share, 1/3 of her husband's estate at the time of their marriage. Given that Norfolk had greatly expanded his holdings since then, his wife received far less than she might have hoped for. The greedy king had ensured his son was endowed with vast wealth. Unfortunately, this did not benefit anyone. Edward soon died, and his children were declared illegitimate. The 2 older sons, heir Edward and Richard of Shrewsbury, vanished right from the tower. Initially, they were kept under lock and key in the fortress, but then the children simply disappeared. Their fate remains unknown to this day, giving rise to numerous legends and works of art. The princes in the tower remain an unsolved mystery. Norfolk's wife never remarried. The last mention of her dates back to May of 1507, according to historian Colin Richmond, who studied her biography. As for the lands that sparked all this controversy, they were granted to the Duke's relative, John Howard, along with the title. He continued the Norfolk lineage.